Next, from the state capitol, we hear testimony on legislation offered by Senate President Cullerton that would eliminate the century-old legislative scholarship program. This program allows each lawmaker to hand out free college scholarships to a few constituents. This runs about 20 minutes.
Committee, I would like to turn first to President Cullerton on Senate Bill or House Bill 3810. Mr. President, are you ready to proceed with that? We have a committee amendment assigned to the committee. You'd like to have that adopted? Senator Crotty moves for the adoption of committee amendment number 1 to House Bill 3810, seconded by Senator Maloney. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted. Mr. President, on the bill as amendment, we have Emily Miller from the Better Government Association, a proponent, Cynthia Reisman from the Illinois State Board of Education, a proponent, able to provide oral testimony if needed. Ms. Miller does seek to provide oral testimony. Brescia Brewer from the Lieutenant Governor's Office, a proponent, record of appearance only. And Mark Cavers from the Illinois Policy Institute, a proponent. Mr. President.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. So this bill, as amended, abolishes the General Assembly Scholarship Program. There's also a requirement that we would create a tuition and fee waiver task force. So this came about as a result of a number of discussions, both pro and con for this program. In fact, I received a letter from a Republican state representative, Representative Seisha, even after the bill passed the House to abolish them, indicating the desire to not throw the baby out with the bathwater, in that there have been some abuses of the program, and yet a lot of young people have received scholarships and benefit from that. As far as the task force is concerned, I've indicated I would support a floor amendment that would make sure that the appointments to the task force are equal Republican and Democrats. I would also point out that the reason for the task force is that we have some $356 million of tuition and fee waivers that take place at our public universities, and many people have questioned whether or not there should be some standards applied to those, whether or not those are all necessary, since they cost the state a lot of money. So that's the reason for the task force, and the Illinois General Assembly Scholarship Program would be abolished with this bill. The amendment has been discussed with members of the House. I talked to the speakers in support of the amendment, and so I would ask for folks to approve the bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is there any discussion? Senator Rodonio.
Well, thank you. I just want to thank President Cullerton for moving on this issue. It's one that's been around for a long time. In addition to the abuses, though, and I understand that not all of the scholarships have been abused, we have to recognize this as a cost shift onto other students in the state that pay their tuition at these state universities. So there's an additional reason to abolish these besides just the issue of the abuses. I know Senator Lightford will speak passionately about her desire to see them continue, and I know we all want to see as many kids as possible get a good education. The best thing that we can do right now to make sure that happens is get our state budget under control and begin to fund our state universities properly once again. But I think this bill, in that it abolishes the scholarships this year, is a good thing, and I also am very pleased that we will be looking at all tuition waivers, because again, the cost shift is an element here, and we need to look at whether or not there should be criteria. Not all other states have the same level of these tuition waivers that Illinois has, so it is high time we do it, and I enthusiastically will support this bill.
Though there is does not seem to be much controversy surrounding this bill, Ms. Miller, you've indicated that you would like to testify. Do you wish to? Okay. Please come up. Are there other questions for the sponsor while the witness comes to the table? Senator Maloney.
Just one quick question. So this would not impact the 2012-2013 school year. This would not impact the 2012-2013 school year.
That's correct. Some people have already started the process of awarding the scholarships, so we say you have to, the cutoff is September 1st, and that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Miller, welcome to the Executive Committee.
All right. Thank you very much, Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Emily Miller. I'm the Policy and Government Affairs Coordinator for the Better Government Association. We're a nonpartisan, nonprofit government watchdog group, and we work for integrity, transparency, and accountability in government by exposing corruption and inefficiency, identifying and advocating effective public policy, and engaging and mobilizing the electorate to achieve authentic and responsible reform. We have been working for the past year on trying to eliminate General Assembly tuition waivers because of the investigations that we have done and investigations that the Chicago Sun-Times and the Chicago Tribune have done that have shown the legislative scholarship program to be used in a way that does not work for the public interest. And we have found that the scholarship program, although not always at all, but it can be used as a tool to curry private favor instead of to work in the public interest. And to the extent that the program is used that way, we don't feel that it's an appropriate use of taxpayer funds. And especially, I understand that there's not any actual money, it's not a line item, but the cost shifting that occurs that Leader Radogna was referring to is an issue that the schools are having to absorb. I'm so glad that the Senate President has brought the amendment. I think it really strengthens the bill, adding a task force to examine all of the General Assembly tuition waivers, or I'm sorry, all of the fee and tuition waivers are, and that it's going to be bipartisan. I think that's a really good step. And I know that the postponing of the effective date is very useful for lawmakers who have already had in the works some scholarships that they have promised to kids that are relying on that for the coming school year. So I just want to say thank you very much, and I'm glad to see this move forward.
Thank you. Questions for this witness? Any questions? Senator Lightford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I'm not glad to see this happen. I think it's a travesty for education in the state of Illinois. I've been a long-time standing advocate for education opportunities for all people, regardless of their welfare range, regardless of their economics, regardless of where they live in the state. And I believe the General Assembly scholarship was fair. It was consistent across the state, and you have 177 members in the General Assembly, but you guys keep narrowing in on 1 or 2, 3 members that may have had mishaps for whatever reason. But what that does is penalize the student. It's not penalizing the legislators. It's penalizing the people in the community who have no other course of earning higher education other than by earning a tuition waiver from the legislator. And it's proven to be very beneficial and helpful to a lot of people and has made a lot of opportunities happen. And I believe that's what we're here for, to help people who really need the help and who have the desire to attain higher education. And so I just think that sometimes being a watchdog doesn't provide opportunities for people when you just want to get that one-line story or that front-page story. It affects lives. Reform is really important and needed. We passed a bill here in 2010 that I voted for to reform the system. We passed a bill in 2011 I voted for to also reform the system. But I think just abolishing it is so unfair for so many people. And the commission side of it, I support creating a commission, but you're creating a commission and abolishing at the same time when you should wait for findings to come back to illustrate and indicate what the needs are and how to reform a system that will still allow individuals in the community to have a chance to earn additional scholarship opportunities. So I would disagree with your testimony, and it's fair for us to have disagreements, but I think this is really unfair when we're underfunding the MAP grant. We're underfunding our full education budget. We're not meeting any guidelines, any of our constitutional rights that we're supposed to be funding education at the level we should be, but yet you guys can look at something and say, well, we're watchdogs and this shouldn't happen because a couple people. So it's just not fair to residents in the state. It's not fair to my constituency. And I believe this is a sad day for Illinois as it relates to education and helping build educated, quality people in the state of Illinois.
Thank you, Senator Lightfoot. Other questions or comments for this witness? Senator Trotter?
In your investigation over the last year, how many infractions or problems did you find from the members that are here?
Well, the BGA, we've only been responsible for a few of the investigations, and over the past year, how would you like me to?
How many violations? I mean, how many people actually did not do what they were supposed to do as far as following the rules that
I can't speak to the number of people that didn't follow the rules. What I can speak to is the number that I found did not.
How many did you find?
And in the past year, or since September, there have been 5 that have had multiple infractions. That's 5 that I know of.
That you know of. This is a program that's been going on, as you probably know,
since
1909.
That's a very long time.
A very long time. That has helped, we can literally say, probably thousands of Illinoisans to enhance their own quality of life, who have since, because of these scholarships and these opportunities that they probably would not have had, are now great citizens. Well, some of them are dead, and probably some of our pioneers in this state, which has made this state the great state that it is. My district is the southeast side of Chicago and south suburbs. Do you know a lot of people over there?
I know some people over there.
It's a working class community.
Yeah.
Working class, you know, with little pockets of affluence, but not many. You know, the individuals, and just some of this letter, I get about 70 requests a year for these opportunities. You know, and it comes from like this woman here who, I'm not gonna mention her name. I'm the oldest of 3 children, and I really try to take a lot of pressure off my family by doing my best to find financial resources to help me in college. My father is on disability. My mother doesn't work. I'm the first in my family to go to college, and I want to be successful. Scholarship, the legislative scholarship, would certainly help me reach that end. You know, and other folks here have one from this lady. You know, I have 5 people in my household. I'm the first to attend the university. My mother passed away in a car accident last year. It's just my father now taking care of 5 of us. He wants me to succeed. He wants me to be productive, and your scholarship will certainly help us do that. And she's going to specialize in being a anesthetist nurse, taking care of patients because of her past. During the time this person was a volunteer, going to become a doctor for Dr. Moore. Considering I was raised in a single-parent household where only my mother provides for me, I know what having the opportunity to be granted, even though it's for 1 year, full-time tuition waiver would take a tremendous weight of stress and anxiety off my mother's shoulders. This individual wants to be, and graduates this year, will be a teacher this year. Another one here, physical therapy. These are opportunities that we're giving these children that would not normally have them. Their parents aren't there. There aren't the scholarships, and many of us do have committees that certainly goes through these various issues and try to deal with it. Here is one is this person here, individual, is a mother of 3 working, and the only way that she can get a better job is get a college education, because that's the rules. These kinds of scholarships help these people become really productive individuals in our society. And just because some feel that there's no transparency because you don't write the rules doesn't take away from the fact that there is a real need, and these scholarships go for great things. The leader alluded to that there are other scholarship waivers out here. You know how many others there are?
I know the dollar amount.
Okay, what is it?
I believe the Senate President in his press release this morning quoted it at $415 million.
Of all the other scholarships, not just the legislative scholarships?
Yes.
450 million.
Yeah, it was either that or 380 million.
I'm-
I've seen both numbers.
I don't read the president's press unless I have to, unless he says
That's all I
something about
read.
me. Yeah. But again, the point is, this is a program that has worked for 103 years in this state. And if you look at the violations versus the amount of good that we've been able to do to pinpoint these individuals that a committee can't do, because they won't know that I have two, and I try not to give scholarships to one household, more than one, but I have two foster children, two kids been in foster care, not even brothers and sisters, but they're in a foster home, who are going to college. It's great. Want to make something of their lives. Your committee, or this committee that's being proposed, wouldn't make that determination. More than likely could not know the anguish of being in foster care and what hope having a college education would do for these folks. I just think this is a bad idea for those who just, again, when everything we do is wrong, it's because one individual has done something literally stupid. So, again, this is a bad idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions or comments for this witness? One question, Ms. Miller, before we excuse you. You were complimentary of the inclusion in the bill of the task force to evaluate the other 415 million waivers.
That's right.
Has the Better Government Association done any of our work for us with that task force? Have you investigated the use of any of those tuition waivers, or have you exclusively focused on the few $1 million in legislative scholarships?
The reason for focusing on the scholarships, actually there hasn't been a focus on the legislative scholarships in terms of our investigations. And people have asked me, why aren't we looking into the other things? I think it's a capacity issue, and I'm actually really looking forward to working with the task force to identify more efficiencies and more transparent processes. I know that a lot of those fee and tuition waivers happen they're completely discretionary. And so looking into the way that those are handed out is something that I would like to work on.
But so far, the BGA has no advanced work done on any of those other waivers. All right, thank you very much, Ms. Miller. Senator Murphy, you have a comment?
Yeah, just a comment, really. Senator Trotter's remarks and the personal the personal testimony of past recipients, I think most of us who did this the right way can share. And but this is a cautionary tale for all of us of the power of the wrong that can be done in our positions. I mean, this entire program was so thoroughly tainted by the actions of a few who didn't respect the office as they should have. And I have those examples from people that I have given this scholarship to in the past. I've been proud of the people that we've given it to and the ability to help them. And in a business like ours that is often not full of good news, it does feel good as a legislator to be able to help in that regard. But the truth of the matter is, I think the takeaway from this going forward for all of us is understand the potential for harm you can do when you misstep and act inappropriately in this job, because things like this happen when an entire program is tainted, and the good and the bad all go down with it. And it's an unfortunate situation for those who could have been helped in this, but this is an absolutely necessary step to take to start to rebuild the relationship between the people who have been elected to govern this state and those that we report to, the voters. So I strongly encourage an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Murphy. Mr. President, do you have any closing comments? Seeing none, Senator Rodonio moves to recommend it do pass as amended. House Bill 3810, seconded by Senator Schoenberg. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Harmon.
Aye. On that question, there are 12 voting aye, 1 voting no, and 1 voting present. The bill will be so reported.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed to provide gavel-to-gavel coverage of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois.